Hey guys, it's Matthew Greenwood with Fireside Chat, New Directions. So welcome in everyone, and so tonight it's going to be the Shamanism interview again with Mary. So Mary's going to come in about 10 to 15 minutes. And hey Kathy, hello, you're first on board. So tonight, please, as always, invite your friends. Just let anyone know that you think might be interested in the subject tonight. And I should say that we're streaming through Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys and My Time TV Live. And we're actually spreading out to about 50 channels on demand, like Amazon Fire and Apple TV. So we're getting out there these days. So look, as I'm sure everyone knows that comes on board, we offer a free spirit guide reading for half an hour to one person each night. And so how you actually get involved in that is to just ask questions. So just to put a question in towards us, particularly about tonight, any interesting questions you've got around shamanism, please put them on board, and you're in the winning then for a free spirit guide reading. So the winner for tonight is Natalie Tucker. Hey Natalie, we're going to be getting to you with that information that you've won the spirit guide reading, and just get in touch with me, and we shall organise a time. So guys, as per normal, we're going to start off with a grounding exercise. Now, I got to say that things are ramping up out there at the moment, and it's really important to remember just how destabilized we get when we're in any fear at all. If we're holding on to any fear or anxiety, then that heavily affects our base chakra energy. So it's really important. Look, if you don't do my grounding exercise, I don't care. As long as you're doing some sort of grounding exercise, and I've got to say, guys, just taking your shoes and socks off and running your feet through the grass isn't enough. It's just not enough. Your energy system needs to be linked right down to the core of the earth. Our energy system goes down to the core of the earth. We need to be integrating that for us to be really stable and connected to all of the other spiritual people on the planet. We unite at that central point of the earth, the earth's core chakra. We have a chakra down there too, which is our earth chakra. The two link together, but not only does the earth chakra and the earth's core chakra and our earth chakra connect together, but every other person on the planet that's opened up spiritually, they are doing the same thing automatically if they're doing their grounding exercises of any sort. So it's really, really important to keep your energy stable and to be there for other people too that need help. And there's a lot of stressed out people out there at the moment, believe me. So, as I'm sure you guys already know. Anyway, let's do this grounding exercise. And I'll just say a couple of quick hellos. G'day, Alison, Alison Coles and Alison Barford. And welcome in tonight. And let's do our grounding exercise. So just to start with, closing your eyes and just taking some nice, deep, full breaths, both in and out. And remember just how important that breath is. Any spiritual process, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, it all revolves around breathing, having nice deep full breaths. That deep breath in isn't just about oxygen, it's actually about life force as well. So with the next deep breath in, just imagine or visualize you're pulling in life force with every breath. And just imagine what that life force is doing. It's literally coming into your space, feeding the chakra system, because that's what the chakras are there for. The chakras are there to draw in that life force and then direct it to different parts of your energy system, including your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. All right, so with the next deep breath in, pulling that life force in, let's be directive. Now, pushing that energy down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and then flowing down into the earth. And just keep that same visualization going with every breath. And just know that as you begin to feel any tingling or warmth or a sense of connection to the earth, you know that's the surefire telling you that you are connected to the earth. Hi, Louise. How you going? All right. So from there, now that you've got that earth connection at the surface, which is base chakra, now let's go right down through to the deepest chakra. So with the next breath in, pulling that life force in, and then with the next breath out, pushing that life force right down through to the core of the earth where your earth chakra is. We have a string of chakras all the way down to that earth chakra. Just know that that flow of energy is going down through all of them, right down to the core. So just keep that same visualization going with every breath, pulling that life force in with the breath in, with the breath out, pushing it down through your body, then right down through all of those chakras below you, then right down to the deepest chakra, which is our earth chakra, right at the core of the earth. Beautiful. So generally, you will feel a sense of peace, of calm. Sometimes people feel a bit of a floating feeling, but like an in the earth floating feeling. Sometimes they feel a tingling all over. People's sensory abilities pick up on it in different ways. So it can be any one of those, or just a knowing, just a feeling. Okay. So now that you've got that connection, what I'd like you to do is to allow your breath to relax. Just know, just be confident that that energy is flowing and will continue to flow while you're in that mode. All right, with the next breath, just bring your senses to the center of your body to start with. Hey, Paul. So knowing that you're far more than physical, we're going to go deep into our energy system. Just imagine a whole universe inside of us. That's how extensive our energy system is. Right deep at the core of our energy system. So imagine diving beyond your physical inside of you and just keep going inside of you until you see, sense, or feel a high vibrational energy source. What this energy source is the highest vibrational energy that you're going to connect with, which is the energy of God, Creator, Great Spirit, the universe, whatever your belief system is on that. It's all the same energy. Hey, Natalie. And as you feel, sense, or see that light internally, now begin to expand it out just by your intention. So as you begin to expand that out, imagine it rushing up from deep within your core until it actually comes up into your physical body, from deep within your energy system. expanding out to every cell in your body, knowing that you're raising the frequency of every cell in your body. And now taking that beyond your physical body, so expanding out to about a 3 to 4 meter area in all directions around you, up, down, left, right, front, back, filling that space with that high vibrational energy source, that light. So what this is doing, this is running high frequency energy right through you from the core out. Pretty much you can forget about putting yourself in an egg of white light. We'll talk about this another day, but it doesn't work. Hate to say it, for those that have been doing it for a long time and don't seem to be getting anywhere, it doesn't work. This fills your whole space with light and keeps going, which is what we're going to do next. So now, on the count of 3, I'm going to get you to explode this light out in all directions. 1, 2, and 3. Let it go. No limitations, no boundaries. Just keep expanding it out. Even going beyond just space. Imagine it going out through space and time. And this is where you can actually have some fun with this light, this high vibrational energy. You can take it back through your past, right through to your birth, and raise the frequency of your whole experience here. Time is not as we know it. We can access time in all different ways, and then it creates change within our energy system. You can also expand this light out through time into your future. And if you're going to do that one, just bring an intention in that that light shines through into the most optimum spiritual path that you can possibly take in this life. And what will happen is when you come to a junction in your life and you don't know which way to go, feel which one is carrying that light. And that light will guide the way. This is how energy works. There are no parameters. The only thing that limits the use of energy is our mind. Hey Nige, how you going? Cool guys, okay, it's time to bring yourselves back now in a minute. I'll just bring you back gently. So just gently bringing yourself into connection with your physical body again. Just bring your awareness back to there. And we're going to finish off with how we started, which is just taking nice deep full breaths, pulling in that life force with every breath. And so with the next breath in, pulling that life force in, and then with the breath out, pushing that life force down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and down into the earth. And then you should start to feel your energy back here in your body again. Now, one thing to remember is you don't need to pull this light in. You're not wasting your energy with that light expanded out. You're actually tapping into something much higher. So this energy will continue to raise your frequency the more you work it. So it's important that you know that there's a limitless supply of that energy. You can't deplete it. All right, guys, cool. So everyone's back, I hope. Now, this is where Mary comes in because she's going to throw some more questions at me. Last week was really good. And through the magic of the internet, Here she is.
Boo.
Hey.
How
Hey,
you
Mary.
doing? Oh, hang
I'm,
on. I haven't even got my microphone here.
oh,
Misorganization skills not.
well, I can hear you.
Oh, that's all right. Well, it was actually, I'm going to have to, the whopping $400 microphone. And it was when I re listened to the recording from last week, it was a little bit tinny. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but we'll work on that later.
It's all good.
How are you?
Good. I'm great. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, super well. Thank you.
Cool.
And thank you so much for that beautiful grounding exercise. I was
My
actually
pleasure.
gifted with one of the spirit guides actually forming into an eagle. So there were some
Oh,
lovely
nice.
messages that were offered, which was fantastic as well. So thank
Cool.
you.
My pleasure,
Yeah.
as always. So you got questions?
I do, but I just wanted to recognise Kathy actually was the first one up the top, but I think it scrolled down before you got a chance to say hello to her. So, hey, Kath.
Oh, I did say hey to Kathy.
Did you? Oh, there you go. I
Yeah.
wasn't grounded, was I?
Yeah, I saw Kathy. She was first up. Yep.
I heard you say Alison. Maybe I wasn't listening. Hadn't pulled
No,
in it.
that's all right. That's okay.
Okay. So, um, questions. It was really quite interesting last week. And I just wanted to touch base, because we actually discussed, that a shaman is actually from the beginning of time. And in reality, today's modern medicine that we use is really in its infancy.
Very much.
And the techniques that they do with the antibiotics and with all the different chemicals that they actually ingest into our bodies, or they encourage, or they've actually falsified something that comes from Earth Mother. And with the intention or their belief that it helps us, like putting something synthetic into ourselves. I was just wondering a couple of things. How often do you get sick being a shaman?
Well, to be honest, very little. When I was very young, before I understood about spirituality, and I was quite sickly back then because I wasn't living a particularly healthy life. And I don't mean just physically, I mean emotionally and mentally. But since I've been doing this work, I'm barely sick. I just keep going. And I mean, I do have to make sure the time I do get, if you want to call it unwell, generally it's more run down, is if I don't keep the balance for me, which is having time off every now and then. And I mean, one of the things with continuously raising your frequency, and the more you develop yourself spiritually, you tend to be able to cope with a lot more anyway. You cope with less sleep. That's something that isn't needed as much. You cope with stress much easier because, and I think, as much as I don't like to admit it sometimes, it's one of the advantages of getting older. You get wiser, and you don't tend to worry about what you used to worry about, say, 20 years ago, and you don't really care what people think about you. But one thing that is important is integrity, and if you can, look, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but the goal for me always is to be in integrity and to hold my energy strong, to be walking my talk, because I mentor people, and if I wasn't walking my talk, I wouldn't be able to cope with the amount of people I see at times. So really, no. And I've noticed other spiritual people that really engage with this stuff don't seem to get sick. It's just not their immune system stronger. This is another thing. The immune system is far stronger, as long as they're doing the right thing, you know. As soon as you start putting toxic foods into your system, but look, let's remember, not just toxic foods, but hanging around situations where there's toxic emotions, where there's toxic ideas, thoughts, projections. This all creates has an ability to create a weaker immune system, and it certainly lowers your vibration. So one of the important things, this is why I knock on about grounding all the time, because that in itself helps to stabilize your energy and keep your frequency to a certain level. But then doing that core star energy then raises your frequency more, which strengthens everything. So yeah, hope that answered that one.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. I honestly can't remember the last time I was sick. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, one, just making sure that, you know, what I have is, you know, put into my body that is made pretty much with love. And it doesn't matter whether it's vegetable, mineral, meat. You know, everyone has their own interpretation. But for myself, you know, even the preparation of a meal for me is, you know, everything's respectful. So what I purchase is always like, you know, making sure that things are right. So if it's meat, as an example, my girlfriend is a farmer, and, you know, the way, like, she does non-hormone, you know, no antibiotic meat, but also her respect of the animal and the way that she actually handles that. The same with vegetables. People don't realize that, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, that is just as important of how it's actually been grown, and, you know, and the way that even in the truck, how it's been handled and those sorts of things, like, because it carries its own vibration. And, you know, we don't know who's touched the carrot or who's put whatever into the carrot. So, you know, the way that, you know, those things are handled as well. And when we actually reach them and they come to our table, and having that preparation and bringing the vibration back of what we're actually ingesting makes a massive difference. And that's just a personal thing.
Oh, huge. Yeah, definitely. I was just going to say a quick hello to Karen. And Adair's just asked a question: do you bounce back faster from setbacks due to a raised frequency? And I've got to say yes, because one of the things that happens is we all can drop our energy when there are setbacks, depending, you know, on what they are. And we all have our buttons that get pushed sometimes. No, I'm perfect. I don't have buttons. Sorry. Not true. But what does happen is when you've got the tools to actually help yourself to bounce back, but also it's not just having the tools. It's one of the reasons why we don't bounce back quickly a lot of the time is because we get reactive in situations. Now, I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but when you're reactive, you're not in adult mode. Reactivity comes from a child that's wounded. So when you are getting reactive, that's where it's coming from. And that's the sort of stuff that will drop your frequency. But the problem is it can very easily keep you in that reactiveness for some time. So the more you know yourself and the more you deal with your emotional baggage, then you don't get reactive as much. And so life tends to go along a lot easier. And this is one of the most important things that all of us need to remember is when we're getting reactive, there's something going on there. It's not adult behavior. It's not mature behavior.
No, I agree. Can I actually just do the one with Alison, if that's all right? I know it's your story.
Yeah.
So Alison is just stating, you know, I find the more one does this work, the more you vibrate at a higher rate. And I 100% agree with that. One of the things is as well is making sure that your words, thoughts, actions, everything that we actually do, our mindset, like one of the things that I've been granted as part of being a shaman is access to the Akashic records. And, you know, it makes a massive difference of the imprint and what we actually set on there. So, you know, just that the one thing that if you can walk away tonight, my challenge to you is whatever you say, and just make sure that you're saying it in a positive manner. And that makes a massive difference. And because you're actually projecting out, as Matt was saying earlier, with, you know, don't hold your vibration close to you. Like, you know, spread it out, spread that love and touch every single person or the universe and create that. But just remember that if you actually say something, even those words like, which is very Australian, is like knowing my luck, and we turn it into a negative. Stop yourself, you know, like, and just say, as soon as you go on knowing my luck, and a lot of people will say, you know, I'm going to catch the lights. You're going to say, I'm going to get every green light, you know, like, and twist it and try and stop ourselves from actually having that negative connotation. And you'll find that the vibration will change a little bit differently as well for you, and things will start moving forward in such a different manner. The other thing that Alison's put here, and the movement to non-chemical production is making a comeback. I've been doing it for many years, and I actually use some non-toxic, non-harmful things as a supplement to go with everything else with today's society. So, you know, making sure that I'm keeping myself as healthy as possible. But the next thing that she's actually said is, however, the water is full of toxins. Now, my background and my where I've actually gone on my journey is, one of the things is part of my training was esoteric. And water is the most flexible thing that you can ever have, because it will go into any corner that you ask it to go into. It will fill in. It will actually, you know, if there's a rock, it moves around it. It will find a way to actually have a movement. Now, Alison, one of the things is whether there is the toxins that's inside it, the same thing, we can actually change the vibration of that water. Okay, you know, one of the things with toxins, like, you know, if you don't have a water filter and things like that, is just having the water in a jug and actually allowing some of those toxins to evaporate out. But also talking to that water, the way that we were just talking before, having that positiveness, you can actually change the vibration and then you're ingesting something that's actually really good for you. Okay, so there's a couple of tips that will make a massive difference, and it will be the start, because as Matt says, and as in the Akashic record, I'm in the very moment of now, in this time, and we have the right to actually change what's happened in the past, to do what we actually need to do as now, and we can actually make the changes of what we want to do in the future as well. And just the start of having, you know, our thoughts, words, and actions is the one thing that we can control. And I think that's really important. So I'll get off my bandwagon now.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay. Now, you did talk about, you know, a little bit of the vibration and, you know, your meditation and everything like that. Is there anything specifically that you do to keep your immune system healthy? Like, you know, you talked about, you know, healthy foods and things like that. But is there one thing that, you know, you found for yourself, because we're all different, that's actually helped you?
I think I'll just have to go back to what I said before, is that one of the things that's helped me so much through my life since I got into spirituality 32 odd years ago, is continuously working my energy system. And it's so important to intimately know how your energy functions, so that you can actually use different techniques to work your energy, because so much of your what appears to be physical issues can very generally aren't a lot of the time. They're actually energetic issues which relate to emotional or mental situations that you're hanging on to. And so when you can shift that, then that raises the frequency automatically. And this is the funny thing with the way we're taught to understand how to get better at something, that we need to add something to us. We need to go and buy a crystal to hang around our neck, or we need to read a book, or we need something else to be wearing the right colored clothing. What we need to do is to let go of things that aren't working for us anymore. So one of the major things is reading your energy, listening to your thoughts, listening to the way your words come out of your mouth, being really conscious of what's going on in your space. And if there's anything that is there that's not right, you'll feel it the more aware you become. The one thing I've been noticing lately is, as I'm getting older, people are saying I look far younger than I am. But also the animal kingdom that I just threw in, but the animal kingdom, and particularly birds. I'm finding this incredible connection with birds at the moment, and they feel you when you're not carrying fear and anxiety. They see you as another being that is not out to get them, and they actually blend with your energy much better when you are grounded. I've had some really interesting experiences over the years with seeing really unusual things out in the forest when I've been running. I'll give you one quick example. I was running a meditation from a level 2 workshop out in the forest, and my car was there. We were right in the middle of a pine forest. My car was there. There were about 5 of us in a circle sitting in chairs. There was all kinds of colors around us. And I hear this in the distance. I hear this dun, 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 and I'm wondering what it was. I thought, is this something on a spiritual level that's going on? And what it was about a dozen deer, which don't come anywhere near you normally. They ran past us with the most hilarious look on their face. They didn't see us, because where I'd taken those people that were there was deep into that earth chakra, and we were exploring the energy of that earth chakra. So they're all deeply grounded into the earth, and those deer didn't even notice us. And it was only at the last minute, when they were only about 15 meters away from us, all running in a pack, and they all had these weird looks on their faces, like,
that's a
what?
Funny piece of grass.
What the? And they didn't even see us until the last moment, as they were right on top of us. So that was really, I've never seen anything like that from deer, because I know what they're like. They're very, very sensitive, and they're nowhere near humans. They don't go anywhere near humans if they're wild. So the energy's changing a lot, and what's happening is we're getting far stronger reactions from nature the cleaner we are, and this is the ultimate. We're just having these wonderful connections with nature now, and so I guess that grounding is such an important thing for that, because people don't realize just how important it is until they start doing it, and they start to get it. So yeah.
I think as well, like with the grounding exercise, what's really important for people to recognize, like sometimes that we think we're grounded, and they're not necessarily doing that. Like, you know, they go through the actions.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, like, you know, they might be, a couple of them might be sitting here tonight and, you know, their feet are not on the ground and they're, you know, their mind is starting to wander and all these sorts of things. These are actually signs of not being grounded.
Very much.
So,
There,
sorry, go on.
there are a couple of other signs of not being grounded too. One is you get lost very easily when you're driving in a car. The other is you lose time. So you're late for something, you know, when you should be on time. If you've got stuff going on in your head, as soon as you've got things going round and round in your head, that automatically ungrounds you. And so this is where you start to lose connection with nature, which is about space. It's a spatial thing, so that's getting lost. And the time thing kicks in too. And because of that fact, you know, when you've got an intention to go somewhere, you kind of putting things into an equation and you know how to get there on time, but then things will just happen and you're not focusing, and it's that lack of focus that's a surefire way to know that you're not grounded too. So
Yeah, and one of the things, like for some of my clients, like they think that they're grounded and they're not. And you know, the challenge of trying to keep them grounded, and you know, I have some suggestions for them, and like, you know, to get them into a habit of being grounded as well, is even if they're at work, like, please just go to the loo and get yourself, you know, regrounded, because it affects your whole, you know, your life, like even your working life.
yep.
And your day can go from ultimately bad to fantastic in just one fell swoop. So it's those little things as well. Alison's actually put here, I have bees and butterflies returning to my gardens. They let me water and go to side, and when done, they come back to the plant and play. That is just such an incredible, beautiful sign, Alison. And with the bees as well, because the bees is one of the major clans. And for you to actually have them coming back is a really nice sign to know that you're actually on the right path. So congratulations on that one.
Definitely, yeah. I've had experience with bees too. They can get very agitated, you know, like wild bees out in a forest when a human comes along, particularly if that human's not grounded for any particular reason. They'll get agitated, fly faster. You can hear the sound elevate, and but as soon as you communicate with them, which I've had to do on one occasion, because the only way I could get out of this particular spot I was in was to climb up a rock. It was the only rock that had a bit of footing to it that I could actually grab onto. But there was a swarm of bees there, and as soon as I went closer initially, the sound got louder and they were flying faster. As soon as I'd back off, they'd slow down and the sound would get less. And so I thought, okay, I've got to do something here. So I just closed my eyes, talked to the bees, and just said, look, I'm only here to pass by, pass through. I don't want to hurt you. I'm here just to enjoy this experience being out in the forest. And so this time, as I went closer to them, there was no change in the sound, no change in the speed, and I literally climbed up this rock face, and there were bees landing on my arm and hand as I'm moving my hand slow, because I didn't want to move quickly, and they were all around my face, but I didn't get bitten once. So it's just being grounded, number one, but also just making a connection, communicating with them, letting them know. You know, everything can be communicated with. Plants, animals, birds, insects. So
yeah, absolutely. One of the things as well is like with the bees being, one of the gatekeepers or the major clans for Earth Mother. Like Alison's actually put here, I'm allergic to bees. So it's lovely that they're actually working with me. And like they can really bring to your attention as well something that could be not quite right. So there's been an occasion for myself, Alison, where I have been allergic to them as well, and there's a learning behind those sorts of things as well, with our vibration and who we are. But that's a whole nother conversation. But they're here to protect us, and sometimes they might need you to stop. So they might actually come near you, and it might, and you get frightened or whatever. Make sure, like as Matt said, that you ground yourself. But there's often a message that's needed, and if you're actually having to stop, just I really encourage you to actually, just be inside yourself and listen to what they've actually got to say to you. Because they've got so much, like they might be tiny, but they are so powerful. And as, as you said, with the different ways and their attitudes and what they're actually doing, their messages. And they're very aware, just like you talked about with dogs. They know who's a good person and who actually is someone that we actually need to be very mindful of when you're actually in that space. So
definitely, yeah.
Oh,
good one, Mary.
Oh, thank you, Master Son. Right. Meditation. How often do you meditate?
Okay, so this is where we need to look at what is meditation. So do I sit down for half an hour in the lotus position every day? No. My form of meditation is the grounding exercise I do in between each client. I'm connecting with my guides in that time. For me, meditation is really, it's kind of a full-time thing. My awareness, and this is part of shamanism, my awareness levels are generally up reasonably high most of the time. There's times when I'll just shut off because I just need a little bit of a break, but the majority of the day, my level of awareness is fairly up there, and I can sense things quite strongly. And so in that state of awareness, you're connected to everything. Guides talk to me, galactic beings talk to me, animals, birds, insects talk to me. And so to me, that's meditation. A lot of people get hung up on meditation is about, like I said before, sitting in the lotus position with certain fingers up, and I've got to say, guides talked to me about this years ago, and they laughed at that. It's a way of focusing, but it's not the only way. And meditation isn't a hard thing. It doesn't need to be a hard thing. What is the hard thing to do is to clear the mind. So it's the mind that gets in the way of being able to meditate. So we come back to the same old stuff, which is being grounded, but also declogging the mind, which is letting go of old emotional baggage that is causing reaction or reactivity. And so it's really about getting rid of the stuff, letting go of the stuff that's getting in the way. That's one of the major things that helps you to do everything. It helps to open up your psychic awareness, your psychic abilities, finding more peace in your system. But while we're carrying so much, and not just our stuff, but other people's stuff too, we do when we're in that mode of being reactive, we have a tendency to be carrying other people's energy in there. So that's the stuff we don't want to be carrying. Leave that to them. So,
can I just highlight that word reactive?
yes.
Because that is one massive big thing. And at the moment, with what's been going on in society at this present moment, there is so much like, whether you think that you're a do-gooder, oh, that's a bad word, but like, you know, you think that you're actually doing the right thing. Then you've got the people that have the bad intentions, and you've got the other people that are actually, you know, being held captive at home, and, you know, like, so all these mental things that are actually occurring. And again, I just want to reiterate with what you're actually saying, like the reactivity that's actually happening, like, you know, even like some people on Facebook, etc. I'll just use that medium as an example, and it's like, you know, people are sending messages, you have to do this, we need, you know, and it's like, and the words that are actually coming out, and I appreciate that they're actually trying to do something positive for us to change our mindset, but again, it's the words, it's how we're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and that love intention is not necessarily there behind it.
No, it goes out the window when there's, as soon as anger comes in or frustration, love becomes lost. And we've all been there at some point, and we understand it, but it's particularly when you're putting things on Facebook and putting any information out there. You know, the idea is to lead by example. And if you're wanting everyone to feel more peaceful, there's no point in doing that if you're getting reactive and trying to control people to see things your way. That doesn't work. That actually just pushes them away. And the way to do it is to do things in a far more peaceful way. It's one of the reasons why I changed direction with the Fireside chats, because I think I was over all the reactionary words that were coming up on Facebook, on social media, and I wanted to help bring the focus back to where we're actually going and what is possible for us in the future. And all the changes that are coming because of all this chaos we're in. It's actually really interesting what's going on out there, because all of that forced behavior that we're being it's being directed at us is actually creating new ways of doing things, and it, albeit in its infancy, but it is creating new ways of living, and this is setting the program for the future. And so part of that is living in a more peaceful way and not holding on to anger and frustration, because number one, the first thing it does, as soon as you get reactive, you lose that base chakra connection. So
Absolutely.
And then it all goes pear-shaped.
It does. Now, Roxy Lou has says, yes,
Yeah.
the bees, butterflies, and dragonflies have been more prominent this year. So
Yes.
well done, Roxy, because again, that's actually a sign of the way that you're actually moving forward in your intention of vibration and positiveness, which is great. And Karen's saying, I'm a dog sitter. A dog tells me a lot about their owners, an animal rescuer. Do you know what, Karen? They're telling you as well, the sort of person that you are. So that's something, that's a talent that you've got, that not a lot of people have.
Definitely.
And I've got a really funny feeling that you're going to go a long way very soon. Ramsey. Yeah. You know what? I get a feeling, and what I just had, I don't know if you're in Adelaide or not, Ramsey, but I see a whole workshop going on. What do you reckon, Matt? We do something like that?
Well, I've been saying this for a little while, probably won't have time now before Christmas, but in January, I want to put a animal communication course together, but trying to keep this short is the next thing. What working with animals and learning to listen to animals' dialogue internally is no different to listening to guides, to listening to bees, to listening to galactic beings, to listening to plants. There's a common thread between all of it. And so this is what I want to teach. And it's a really interesting process. It means a breaking down of some of our belief systems and an opening up of some new ones. So this I have a feeling it's going to be a good workshop when it comes. So I just haven't had the time to actually get it happening, but it's very close. So
Yeah. There's
thanks, Ramsey.
Yeah. So
And look, as far as that question goes, what do insects say? It can be all kinds of things, because quite often when there are insects around you, they have dialogue for you, more personally for you. You know, it's not just about bigger picture stuff. It can be about you and what you're trying to achieve in maybe your garden or what you're trying to achieve in your home. And when there's an out of balanced state as far as insects go, they're trying to tell you something. So they're trying to tell you that maybe you need to change something there. And this is about a community. What we need to remember is just because we plant a concrete block on the ground and build a house on it and take ownership of that land, everything else can, excuse my French, can bugger off. But this is actually not what we need to be doing. We need to be in connection with every living being that's on that land and around that land too, and work with it, because there's communication that's going on there 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's just that we need to learn how to listen. And that's the big thing, because they're trying to reach out to us all the time. So, and we just don't see how that's showing itself quite often. So, so Roxy Lou, teaching my 8-year-old grandson not to be afraid of them, but respect why they are here. Beautiful. So that's kind of a follow-on, really. Is the Lakota Indians have a beautiful saying, Matakwe Oyasin, which means we are all connected. And that doesn't mean just people. That means everything, the earth, the elements, the plant kingdom, animal, bird, insect kingdom. We're all connected. So there's an energy that is binding all of us together. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there, because believe me, it's definitely there. So
I love those words, Matt, about binding everyone together. Like, you know, and I don't know about yourself, but, you know, it's sort of regressing slightly with what we were just discussing about, you know, today's society and what's actually happening now. But the selfishness of man expecting, like, you know, that we're actually the power, and that, you know, I am the supremist and you need to listen to me. And, you know, but the thing is that because we've actually shifted so far away from being at one with Earth Mother and the universe, that we're the ones that are held responsible for what's actually going on.
Most definitely.
We need to take, you know, for myself, you know, I humbly apologize on a regular basis, and, you know, and thank Great Spirit and Earth Mother for their patience with us, because we're slowly starting to waken up. But you know, just to be grateful for what we've actually got, and you know, we're on the cusp of losing everything, and it's not just the earth that we're going to lose; it's the universe. Like with, you know, we can change this imploding of what's going on, and you know, and by having the positive intentions and doing, you know, that small thing, can make a massive difference. And you know, and one of the things that I challenge everybody who's in tonight and who's going to listen to this is that you can make a difference. Definitely. And it's that same thing where, you know, that analogy that happened many years ago, where that was that man that was walking along the beach, and there was all these starfish that were washed upon the shore, and they were picking it up and they were throwing the starfish back into the ocean, and someone else walked along and said, you know, do you really think that you're going to make a difference? And he picked a starfish up and threw it into the ocean. He said, well, I've just made a difference to that one. You know, we can, you know, step by step, little by little, if we all do that one thing and just start making a difference and start putting that positive output, it's going to make a change on the earth. And I'll use an example as well. The gentleman that I actually sit next to is very spiritual, like from his country. And he's absolutely beautiful, softly spoken man, very, very, you know, devoted to his particular spirituality path. And he actually has a little boy who's 7. And he goes, oh, he's really naughty. And I turned around and I said, you know, and we had a bit of a discussion. And I said, do you understand that the consequences of actually talking about someone being naughty? I said, nobody is naughty except for when they're actually being taught. So leading by example is like, so if you're telling them that they're naughty, you're putting things in the back of their mind and you're preempting a number of different things. So you're actually telling them that they are something. Now, one, what are you doing with leading by example? Why is your child actually doing that? Then they came the excuse, well, it's external. I said, okay, so with the external sources, what do you do with your son? How do you sit down with your son and talk about the things? And, you know, like, and having those lessons, and, you know, how did it make you feel? Like, how would you feel if this actually happened to you? And, you know, the choices and, you know, having all these different balances and, you know, coming through. And you know, and he said, I've never thought about it like that. So even someone that is very much into their particular spirituality and very, you know, very devoted, just their thoughts and the way that they had their, you know, the spoken words and their actions is a domino effect. And, you know, working through it and talking through it with a child or with even with an adult is, you know, so important. You know, how does it make you feel? Or, you know, what do you think it did when you actually said that one thing? You know, like,
it has a huge impact.
It is. Do you know, like, on a personal thing, my mother told me my whole life that she hated my name. And so I was embarrassed to have the name Mary. You know, these things can make a massive difference.
Most definitely, yes.
You know, and for me, like, you know, with all the healing, thank you, Matthew, and we've done lots of different things in relation to my mother. But what I actually got out of all of this at the end of it was like learning that my father was actually able to come in and he actually sat me down and gave me the meaning behind my name, Mary. And now, because I was actually able to clear that, Dad sat with me on a spiritual level. We worked on that together. And it is such an honor that he actually chose that name for me. Okay. So
Beautiful.
these little things that make a difference.
Yes, definitely. Mary, we've sort of come to the end of but I'm just going to answer one more question, and it's the last one. So, Corinda, I have a question. How do we find you, and how do we find out about your business, and what advice can you give to people? So, Corinda, you can find me through, best thing is my Facebook site, Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys. That tells you what I'm up to as far as workshops go, but you can contact me on 0410 658 797. You're going to see that come across the screen. There you go. That's probably the best way to contact me, through a text message or messenger maybe. I treat everyone as an individual, and I certainly don't judge people. Everyone has a story, and I just help you to bring your story into balance. So, look, on that note, thank you, Mary. Another great night. Thanks for the questions. I'm just going to just do a little bit on the workshops that I've got coming up. So thanks again. And
thank you. Thanks for having me. And as I said, I'm getting back on track. So it didn't happen last weekend, but I'm hoping this weekend I might get back into it. So look forward to seeing everyone really soon.
Thanks, Mary.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, guys. So last but not least, what I've got coming up is a level 2 workshop, level 2 shamanism this weekend. I've got, now, for those in Adelaide, on Saturday the 27th in the morning at 10 a.m, we're going to meet out at Mount Crawford Information Centre, or Mount Crawford Ranger Station. If you would like to come for this, please give me a call or text me or message me. So I'm going to take you for a little walk into the forest to show you where some portals are, some galactic portals, and we'll see who's there and what connection we can make with them. So that will be at 10 a.m. on that morning, and there is a charge, so it'll be $45 for that. But we'll be out there for at least 2.5 hours, I would say. So the last one we did probably about 12 months ago went extremely well. And yeah, I'd love to have you out there, but you need to contact me first. I need to know, please don't just show up. You need to contact me and book in first. And it is prepaid. So but please let me know. And look, if you have any questions about that particular event, again, contact me and I can give you more details. I'm not going to put it out on Facebook because I want to vet the people that are coming along. I don't want just anyone coming along. I hate to say that, but because the numbers can get a little bit too big, if it's just a bit of silliness, I'm not really interested in that. I want people that are more seriously interested in galactic beings and making a connection with them, because we're reflecting humanity's desire to get in contact with them here, and needs to be a respectful thing. So again, thanks guys for being a part of tonight. Love the great questions, and really great to see everyone come on board and listen. And to all of those that come in and listen to the recording afterwards of this event, thank you for listening, and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend, guys, and a safe week. Be good and enjoy.